So tell me about the report that you're launching today.
So the report we're launching today is exploring what universities might look like in the future. And the way we're doing that is in partnership with Accenture. We're looking at what learning analytics might do for universities and for the sector as a whole, but also for individual students and how their experience is going to change completely.
Okay, so in the summer reshuffle and the introduction of Theresa May's government, there was a shifting of university policy from the Department for Business Innovation and Skills to the DFE, Department for Education. So what will the challenges that the DFE face when they're considering university policy?
So when it comes to higher education, the Department for Education is really going to have to focus on what's called the Teaching Excellence Framework, or TEF, which is going to determine which universities are allowed to increase their tuition fees, first in line with inflation and then later even above inflation. And it's really quite a difficult task because they're going to have to define what is the value of university education and how do you define what good or bad education is. And one of the things we point out in the report is that learning analytics could actually provide a whole new metric and a better one showing the level of student engagement really.
Okay, great. And so universities are going to have to try and prove their value in this new environment, but you mentioned in the report that this is coming at a very difficult time for the HE sector. So can you explain why that's the case?
Yeah, so this isn't the easiest time for universities, and we're really focusing on kind of three challenges in the report. First one is that there are just less 18-year-olds, and 18-year-olds make up the vast majority of university applicants. And so basically from now till 2020, there's said to be a 15% decrease, which could be an issue, especially with the dependence on tuition fees. And then the second challenge is there's really increasingly being questioned the so-called graduate premium, which is basically how much more money you can make if you have a university degree than if you didn't. And recent research has kind of pointed out that there are other routes that might make you more than some certain degrees. And then thirdly, and most recently, of course, there's Brexit, which is creating some nervousness about funding streams and about the status of EU applicants.
In the paper, you stress the importance of learning analytics. Can you just briefly explain what learning analytics entails?
Yeah, so learning analytics is basically the tracking of student behavior, online behavior, behavior in the library, so basically just how much time do you spend on resources and what kind of resources, and then you match that with student outcomes. And by doing that, you can create predictions for future students. So if they display this kind of behavior, this much time online, they're likely to have this kind of outcome. And the way that you can use this is that you can feed it back to tutors or you can feed it back to students. And if you feed it back to tutors, they can create more personalized interventions and they can know earlier when you might want to talk to a student, when they might be struggling, before they fail to give in an assignment. So a much better chance of actually keeping the students enrolled in the course. And for students, it can give them better insights to what they might want to improve, where they might want to put in more effort or less effort even, just a better insight into what can create the best outcome for them.
In the report, you pick up the example of the post office, which was deemed to be a technology that would revolutionise the delivery of higher education. Why do you think learning analytics will deliver a sort of transformative effect this time around? Why do you think technology is going to change higher education this time?
I think one of the main problems with the whole postal course revolution was that it was revolutionary. So they thought that it was going to be a complete overhaul to higher education. This isn't what learning analytics is. It's basically just making university education as it is a little bit smarter. And so one of the reasons that I think this is going to succeed is because it feeds into a culture that young people are very used to, which is personalized feedback from whatever exercise apps or sleeping apps or whatever it is. And then it creates personal suggestions, which we're also very used to. And then it's already been tried out. So at one of the universities that are at the forefront, which is the Open University, tried it out at just 11 modules, and it looks like the retention rates actually increased by about 2.1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it would mean an increased revenue of 1.2 million.